Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good wherever you are. JP here at Websites for Beginners, and in this compendium video, putting together a little compilation of all or most of the new additions to Brizy WordPress 2.4 that already went live more than a month ago. As I've gone through them, I found those that I really like, and we're going to have a look at all of them in this compendium, but I'll mention the 5 that I'm definitely going to be using as I build out new sites with Brizy WordPress, both free and pro. Before we jump into that, if you want to know more about the breakout channels, Websites for Beginners is focused towards teaching you how to make websites, people with no coding experience. Maybe you just want to make a website one time. You don't want to go into all those little nitty-gritty stuff there. Just learn and quickly set it up. But as you can see, there are so many choices available, and some of them we go a little bit more in-depth with more smaller videos, and this channel will be too crowded for all of that. And that's what the breakout channels are for. So scoot on over to Websites for Beginners at w4b.io, and you can find the breakout channels where we have dedicated channels to these other builders, where you will find more in-depth tips and tricks and a little bit something else, updates and news to these different builders. We have Brizy WordPress, Brizy Cloud, Breakdowns, Elementor, and then this channel includes WordPress, and I'll also bring bricks back here as well. So go and select Learn Brizy WordPress, and it will take you to the YouTube Breakout channel. As I'm rearranging the website as well and updating that, we will have dedicated pages to that as well. The link in the description will take you to Brizy, where you can go to the blog section and have a look at the slew of new features and updates and fixes that they've brought into 2.4. Some of them are quality of life improvements, some of them are long overdue, and some of them are new additions that's going to make people very happy, like the scroll motion animation effects. Below in the description, I have timestamps for all the individual videos, so you don't have to sit through 30 minutes of everything just to get to what you want to look at. Go to the timestamps and jump right to the video that you want to watch. But before we do that, I'll show you the 5 ones that I think are noteworthy. 4 of them I'll definitely be using. 1, not in my court, but definitely for many other people. And the first one is column width. Previously in Brizy, when we wanted to change the column width, you only had the option to grab the handle in the middle between 2 columns and drag it. And the problem with this is, and you will see there's a little UI display at the top that is giving us the percentages. Sometimes you couldn't get it to that percentage that you wanted. Now you can go to the column settings and select here and just simply type it in there. Absolutely a feature that I'll be using. The second one is column height. Now you can set the custom height. From the option settings, you will select auto and custom. Previously, it was just auto always, but if you now want to increase it, and then you can also align it to the center, you can do so. And in this case, we can simply go ahead and copy this style of the column, right click on this one, paste styles, and it will give the same settings to that column. Very easily done. Staying with the columns is my third one, which is reorder, making it a GIF now to switch columns. Click again on the column settings and you'll see these little chevrons to the left and right. I'll select right and I switch them around in no go. Another one, strangely, that has been there for background images, but not images itself, we get it now, is image overlay. Select the image and now you will find that you have an overlay option. And in this case, let's give it a nice gradient. I'll select this one and I'll reduce it a little like so. Make this one white. I'll reduce it almost all the way to 0. And then I'll also give it a little bit of a slant. And you apply a nice little theme effect over it. Copy, paste styles, and now you've applied it to both of your images. The last one, which I think is actually the big one in this release for 2.4 and only for the Pro version, is scroll motion animation. I mentioned that in the full tutorial, and you can follow the timestamp in the description below. I do not use them. If you are, though, a scroll motion animation effects user, you're going to be extremely happy. There's still a few tweaks here and there that I think can be improved, but it's going to work pretty well. I'll select any element. In this case, I'll select an image and then go to settings, and you will see that styling and effects are split here. I'll click effects and I'll just switch the toolbar to the left so that we can see the images better. Here we have the entrance animations, which we are very accustomed to. Next to that, scroll animations. Let's select horizontal, and here's a small glitch. The moment I click on it, it closes, so you have to go and select that image again. Then we go to effects and scroll, and you can see it is selected. You can apply more than one at a time. And with this open, and I will lock that sidebar, you can see as I drag, you have that image moving around. This can create a very interesting effect if you apply it to all the images and they kind of come together. And you have controls down below for all of them as you select them over the directions they move. And these are the 5 most noteworthy additions for me that I think is going to make a huge difference to my workflow. The others are not to be glanced over, so watch the rest of the video and have a look at what's happening in Brizy WordPress 2.4, both for the free and the pro version. And before you dive into that, a big request to please give us a thumbs up and like it. It helps to keep the motivation going. Excited about the release of Brizy WordPress 2.4? Let's have a look at what is new in there. And in this video, we will look at the basically default font. I can kind of understand this for Brizy Cloud, where you have many projects in the same dashboard and you want to have the font consistently open to a certain font. Let's see how this will work in the Brizy WordPress. I have brought in one of these pre-made web layouts, and then let's select over here any text element, and then we go to add new font, and then fonts over here. And currently it's set to Lato, which is our default font. Now, let's just go ahead and choose Montserrat. And then if I close it, and that means when I select another text element in the future, it should be that, Montserrat. Again, I can understand the purpose here, but if you are using the styling in the sidebar and you are setting up everything from here by default, once you bring in any new text element, like this one, and I drop it there, and it's set to paragraph by default, then it's going to draw it from whatever setting is in the styling. So again, not 100% sure why, unless we're talking about other elements that may have a font that is set to the default Lato. But because you're working on a website by website basis, unless you are running a multi-site, I can understand why you want to change the default font. Great feature to have in Brizy Cloud. Again, because you will have many different websites within a single dashboard and workspace. But for the WordPress, just be aware of the fact that if you go to your typography, add new font, and under fonts, you have the ability to select any of these fonts and have them assigned as your new default font. From me, JP, that is new in 2.4. Go well and stay safe. I'm super happy about the new control we get for the width setting in columns. And I think it's going to really make it easier for those of us who want things to be pixel perfect. Learn Brizy. Welcome here with me, JP. And we're looking at some of the new features that are in the new Brizy 2.4 update for WordPress. Actually, this one has been in Brizy Cloud for a while, so I'm very confident showing you how to use this. And then I have still a few requests for the Brizy developer team when it comes to working with things like padding and dragging around sliders when you want to get to a specific value. In the old days, we used to go to columns like these, and last time I did this, I couldn't see the difference, and I think the colors are going to be a problem again. Let me go and switch it out. I'll just put that one on white, and we put this one on gray. Good. So we've got two columns here, and it's still not going to work because you cannot really see that blue. Ah, that's much better, right? So we have two columns here, and as you hover over them in the middle, you're going to see that handle that you can drag left or right. And this is how you're going to set up the width of your various columns. As usual, you have the heads-up display at the top, currently showing a 72.1% and 27.9%. If you wanted it at 70-30, you had to drag very carefully. And in most of the cases, you're going to get it very easily set there. Once in a while, especially with more columns added, it gets a little bit more complicated. And then you cannot set it to the exact value where you want it to go. Now what Brizy allows you to do, let's say we want to have it at 60/40 and you just cannot get to 60. Ooh, every time you just jump over it. Simply go to the first column, click on its settings, and then from the settings, you will have width here where you can type in the percentage. And you start from left to right, the others will adjust. So by typing here 60, I've now set this one exactly to 60% of the width. Now if I go to this one, it will give me 40%. Remember, very important is that if you bring in now a second column, Brizy automatically will space all of the columns evenly. So even though I've set it to 60 and the other one to 40, if I add a third column, it's going to be 30, 30, 30. So if I had wanted this at 60, 20, 20, we'll do it as so. Again, put this one on 60. And then the next one on 20. And then the last one will automatically fill in the remainder, which will be 20%. Lovely, it works great. And remember, of course, on responsive designs, you're going to have control over the responsive settings. So if I go down to tablet, Control Command minus on my keyboard, and I put this one on 50, let's use the settings that we've just learned about from the settings toolbar, 50%, and then put this one on 25. Here you have to remember that the moment you move into tablet and mobile, it doesn't flex and fill the rest of your row. You need to set it, if you want it at 100%, the last one also to 25%. A little bit different than the desktop. Now we have it at 50, 25, 25. And if I go back to desktop, I can just hit Control Command plus on my keyboard. You will see that we are still here at 60, 20, 20. Here is the request that I have because most other page builders have this feature in, so I think it shouldn't be rocket science, but what do I know? I'm not a developer. The request is as follows. If I drag it like so, can't I just hold Shift on my keyboard like many other programs do, and it will automatically jump in increments of the nearest 5%. For example, it was at 60%, and then if I hold down Shift and drag, it will jump from 60, 65, 70. It doesn't give me all those little other numbers in between. That would be a great feature. It will speed it up much quicker than even having to go in here. If I run over that 60, I can just hold down the Shift and it will jump to 60. That would be an awesome feature and will really speed up the workflow. But at this moment, I'm not complaining because giving us this pixel perfect control over the size of the columns, long time wishes finally do come true. From me, JP, go well and stay safe. Welcome to Learn Brizy with me, JP. In the latest update of Brizy WordPress 2.4, we have an additional feature when it comes to content alignment within a column. Let me show you how that works. I've got two columns here. I've got some information and image and some text under that. And then I have probably here a big heading in the right with a call to action button. What the alignment for the content in the column allows us to do, and let's go to the settings and select here where you see the settings cog. Here, content is currently set to the top, and this is actually a feature that I use a lot, especially when I'm creating hero sections, that you often want the content in the emptier side to appear in the middle, like so. And then many cases also at the bottom. This isn't new. What is new is this one over here. This will take whatever you have inside and spread it out from the top all the way to the bottom. There are times when this is something that you may want to use as an effect on your page, especially maybe for blog posts where you have a background image in the column, you have text at the bottom, and your call to action at the bottom. A little extra addition to the content alignment for columns in Brizy 2.4. From me, JP, go well and stay safe. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. or a good wherever you are. This is JP here with Learn Brizy, our WordPress edition. In the latest update, Brizy 2.4, we have a lot of new features, and a lot of them makes life and working with Brizy much easier. A feature that is spanning across about 8 different elements is the Reorder feature. Very welcome, and you're going to find that you'll be using this quite a lot. This includes columns, tabs, slider, form, accordion, timeline, gallery, and playlist. Let's have a quick look at how this works and where you can access this feature within Brizy. A quick note, you may not be aware, but I have a dedicated channel just for Brizy Cloud. I split the two products a while ago, this channel being dedicated to WordPress and this other one to Brizy Cloud. If you're a Brizy Cloud user instead and you want to see how you can work with Brizy Cloud and learn Brizy Cloud, there is a link in the description below. Let's get back to the reorder. Reordering is actually super easy. Here we have a form, and any of the fields can be reordered to a different position within the form. If I click on the field, you will see here in the options toolbar these two arrows, up and down. Down means it's going to move one down. If I want to make the message at the top, move it up. And as simple as that. Next up, we have tabs. If I want tab 2 at the beginning, select the tab. Again, from the toolbar, this time we'll get the left and right arrows. Very easy. Move it to the right, tab 2 on the right now, and then click to move it to the beginning of the tabs. Accordion, same feature. Let's take accordion 1 here. Select it. You see the up and down arrows. You can cycle through that. Place it in the new position where you want it to be. Previously, you had to recreate it, duplicate it, delete it. It was really bothersome when you've already created a full accordion and suddenly realizing you have to move one of them. Gallery for the pro users, if you have an image that you want in a different position, let's click on this image and you will see you have the arrows to the left. And of course, like I said, you can move it down the line as well. Timeline, let's take this image and put it to the top. Click on the icon, your arrows appear again, and you simply move it to the top. Video and audio playlist, select it, same thing, move it down, video 1 at the bottom. Probably one of the biggest features in the reorder that you'll be using in the future is the column reorder. 3 columns here, I want feature 1 in the middle, select the column settings, and you have your reorder options again. And the last one is block sliders. This also very nifty for people who have a lot of blocks. You add one and you want it in a different position. I've got 3 slides here. I changed it out a little bit with the colors in the back. This slide is currently my second slide in this sequence, as you can see with this little dot that is highlighted. I want it to be the last one. With the slide on the screen, go to the block settings and you'll see the reorder here, and I move it down the line. If I go to the 3rd dot, you're going to see the slide is over here. Excellent. Thanks, Brizy, for this update. Keep it coming. My little feature request would be when it comes to columns, especially when we are talking about responsiveness, is whether I can change the columns in responsive view to a different order, which I cannot. That would be a super feature. I mean, super power feature. If we could have that reorder function in different responsive displays. From me, JP, go well and stay safe. The background has gotten a few soup upgrades, and now you can change the size of the image that you place in the background. This applies to the block. Go to the block and then where the background is and click on image. And what I'll do here is use a smaller image pattern that can be repeated to show you what these new functions are. I'll select this image and you can see it comes in my 600 pixels 1:1 aspect ratio. By default, what Brizy does, it brings in the image in the block and it stretches it so that it can cover the entire block on the left to the right and to the top to the bottom. This is done here with the size controls, and now we have also contain and auto. Going to auto will give you the image in its original state, which is around 600 to 600 pixels, And we know this, as we can see, we have the white space on the left and the right, as well as the top and the bottom. If you select contain, what it does is it takes the image and stretch it from top to bottom. In most cases, I don't find this very useful, except where you activate the repeat, and that is a new feature here as well. I'll go to auto first, and when I select repeat, you have a seamless repeated background. This is very nice for bringing in small images, small little patterns, and then repeating it, creating really funky backgrounds. The same will happen if you go to contain, just bigger. But also with the new settings for your image sizes, thumbnail, medium, large, you can take more control over this. If I go to medium and I click on it, I'll put it on auto. And now you can see we have a much smaller condensed version. We've scaled it down, but it looks really good. And if you really want a smaller one, you can go for thumbnail and you take control over this. Let's put it on original and I'll leave it on auto and repeat and show you one little cool feature that you can do here. Go to the overlay, select the color that you want to apply here, reduce the opacity, and a nice little effect for a background. If you are so ever inclined to add SoundCloud to your site, this comes with a number of new controls. Let's go to add elements, and this is the audio element. Drop it, and by default, it's going to give us SoundCloud with a link. Select it, and then here you will paste your link. I'll grab a link, click here on copy link just to see if it works. Select it and paste Control-Command-V. And there we go. New one is in Control. And what we have now here under advanced is you have a lot of options what you want to display. You don't want the like button to appear there, or the buy button, download button, take that out, share button. Maybe you don't want the comments on your site. You just want the song, play counts, no, as well as the username. And you can really take control over what is displayed here and what you don't want to display in the SoundCloud audio element. We are used to that you can add a video background as well as a map to your block container. Now with the 2.4 update, you can also do it to columns. The column on the left, select, and from the options toolbar, go all the way to the left where you select background, and you will see next to type, you have video as well as map. Let's go to video and go grab a link from YouTube. And I have this nice repeating background. Click on share and copy, go back and simply paste it. Control-Command-V, and there we bring in that nice little loop in the background. You can select loop, and under filters, you can add some if you wanted to. For map, select the map and type in the address. I'll take your Cheetah Outreach Strand. And there we go. We have our Cheetah Outreach, and I can decide if I want to zoom in a little bit on that. Zoom out. And this will be how you can add this to a column. And you can play around with the size, and it will all depend on the size of the container, how those videos and also how the map background will behave. Since the beginning of Brizy, we could add a color overlay to an image in the background of a block. But strangely, we couldn't do it to an image itself. 2.4 gives us that functionality. Already have a very nice image here for this wedding website, but in the event where I want to apply an overlay to it, select the image, go to color, and you can see that we have the option now to apply an overlay to the image. I'll add this slight green and then reduce the opacity so that it can come through and give us that kind of faded effect. This can be enhanced by switching over to gradient. And now you can select the second gradient selector, put it on a different color. Let's say we put it on white, reduce that, and change also the angle of the gradient. Nice little effect that you can create. Now you also have overlays for images. I'm a big user of the line element in Brizy, actually any page builder for that matter. I like to use it as separation, and it's got a mega upgrade in 2.4. Now you can use it to add some text in the middle, even an icon. Let's see how that works. Here I have my heading for this section and I want to add a separator. So I bring in the line element, I drop it there. And then as you select on it, you still have the same old default line that you can select and change the width of the line, and you can change the color. Let's put it on green so we can see it a little bit better, make it darker. And all of them remains as it were. And I love it. Now, if you go all the way to the left, you have the option to change it to text. And then next to text, also an icon that you can add to it. Loads of things that you can think of here. If I go to the text, think of a wedding, double click the text and type in something like harmony, and then you style out the text exactly the way you would do usually, and you can also change the color of the text. If you prefer to use an icon, let's click on our icon. We type in there love over here. And we can set the icon to the right, to the left, to the middle. And that's also the same for the text. So if you want the text at the beginning to create this little text at the beginning with a follower, or add a leader and then the text at the end, you have that functionality by aligning it center, right, or to the left. It looks like a small upgrade to the line element. I love it. Huge for me. With 2.4, there are a few updates to the more options sidebar that we often access on the right where there is styling. Now, the styling and the effects are split. Select any element on your page, and I've got the text here selected, and you go to settings. Usually down here, you would have had an option for more settings. Now it says styling and effects. It doesn't really matter which one you click. It's going to open the options sidebar. Click on styling, it opens, and you will see that it opens to the tab of styling, and effects is just adjacent to it. If I click outside again, we do the same, go to settings, and I click on effects, same sidebar, but it will go by default to effects. 2 new shortcut keys have also been added for this. Select the text, Control Command M on your keyboard, and that's going to open the styling. Click outside, select it, Control Command K. And that's going to open the effects. And if you're not sure where to find the shortcut keys, go to the bottom left-hand corner, select the Go to Dashboard, and then select Shortcuts. And this will open the Shortcuts menu for you, and you can check all the shortcuts that you have. Here at the bottom, the Control M and the Control K. Be cognizant of where these new options are. And if you want to access your effects like before, they are here, as well as the scroll effects that have been added. One feature I've picked up here, which I didn't notice before, is that the effects and entrance animations are also now responsive. That is great for me because I always have a gripe with entrance animations on smaller devices like mobiles. Now I can apply it here. Let's say I want to apply it to this entire block. I go to the block, settings, effects, and I apply a fade in. And then when I go to my mobile and tablet, I'll just skip right down to mobile, and I select it, I can say none. If I go back to desktop, it is still there. You see it fades in, but on my mobile device, it has been disabled. Great feature. The spacer got a strange little extra upgrade. Let's bring in a spacer. I'll drag it and drop it below this heading. Select it and go to the settings. Traditionally, we could only set the height in pixels. Now you also have the option to put it in VH, which is viewport height. That is basically another big term for percentage of your screen within the browser. At 50, if I select VH, it's going to fill half of my screen. You can see it jumps to quite a big size. M is a value that we traditionally associate with the size of the font size. And by default, if it appears like this, we assign it a value of 16 pixels. If I take this down because otherwise it's going to be too big. At 1 it's going to give me 16 pixels. And at 5, it should give me 80 pixels. So you have the options now to set it with pixels, viewport height, and M. The benefit of these two is that they are scalable as you move through tablet and mobile devices. A small update in 2.4 relates actually to the update or /save function. In the past, to save your page, you always go down here to the bottom and click on update, or you hit Control Command S on your keyboard. Now, once you've made changes and you click on update, you will observe that it is grayed out. This shows you that it is the latest version you are working with. If I make any changes, like I bring in a new block, the moment I do that, you will see it highlights again, and you know that there is unsaved work on your page. The video function got autoplay and loop. If I bring in the video element and we drop in a link to the background, let's change it to our own. Now I can go to the settings, and over here you have autoplay as well as loop. The other features were there before. Now you have this option to let it play as the user loads it, and then also autoplay. When you activate tags on the accordion element, let's give it 1, 2, and 3. In the past, you didn't have the option to change the all tag. Now simply highlight it and type in the tag that you want to give to the all tag. The switcher in Brizy Pro also got an update, and now you can add to the switcher tabs icons of your own. Now, this is a standard switcher, and to interact with it, click on it and you get your normal switching. Note though that for some reason, sometimes the toolbar appears and other times it doesn't. I figured out when clicking at the bottom, it doesn't appear. When I click inside the tab on the text, then it appears. Not a glitch, but just pay attention to that. It can give you chills down your back. From the switcher tab, you will see that the icon appears up here, and now it's very easy to bring in an icon within the switcher, and you can place it on the left, at the top, right, and of course at the bottom, change the size and the spacing. If you go to the switcher option and you put it on text outside like so, and you click on the switcher, which is what I did, you're not going to see the options. But remember, you have to click on the text, then you are going to get your options toolbar. Nice little feature like this icon that we get in the switcher. I wish we can get more nice little features all over the show. I have to say, sometimes when there are new updates with new features, I'm surprised. I never thought of that. And this is one of those. The rating element just got a rating scale of 5 or 10. We've had the rating element before in Brizy WordPress Pro. And if I click on it and we go to the settings far on the left, you will see that we have a rating scale here. Currently, it gave you 5 stars. And if you wanted to get like a 7, you had to go for 3.5. 3.5, and that would give you 7. Now, though, you do have the option to go all the way to 10, baby, and you can type in your cool 7, and even if you want to make it 7.5, let's see if that will work, 7.5, you can do so. This is only available in Brizy Pro. In 2.4, there is a huge new addition, which I think a lot of people have been screaming for, and they finally got it, and that is scroll motion animation effects. I'll come clean from the beginning, I don't use it. Yes, so scroll motion animation comes in with Brizy 2.4 only in the Pro version, but I think there's still a lot to be done to this feature. Let's select an image here. Where am I now? Let me select an image somewhere and I'll show you what I mean by that. And by the way, blocks, of course, cannot have the scroll. Select the image, go to settings, and you will see style and effect is split, but they give you the same sidebar. I'll select effects, we have entrance, and we have scroll. You have, how many are these? 8 to choose from. This is where the snags come in. The moment you select one, the sidebar closes. So if I select your horizontal, it's going to select it. And what? Okay, there it's moving. So very nice, it's moving. But there are settings there actually. So let me go back, click on the image, go to the settings, go to effects, go to scroll, 5 extra clicks or 4. And now you notice you have direction here for left or right. You have the speed that you control it with. Is it slow or is it a quick movement? And you can set start and end points. And this is where I haven't really figured out start. Maybe this is from right, how it works. Start from, so let's go to the bottom. Start. Okay, so I'm starting to get it. And where it will end is 100% on that side. Can I move the end to the other side? No, I cannot. If I just want a little bit of movement, I move these two closer to each other. Nope, not either. Okay, and there's the speed. Sorry, I'm really bad at this just because I don't use it. I've seen people do amazing things. It's like the 8th wonder of the world that they can do with it. But for me, it is probably a huge amount of time that you spend in it, and I just don't see the functional value in it. I'll say that probably a million times. And there you have 8 effects which you can combine, and I'm pretty sure you can probably even combine it with entrance animation. Let's see, replay animation. I don't think that's going to work. Don't overdo it. If you want to go big, then really go big. What I want to see is how it's going to display on the front end. All right, and there she's spinning her life away. Okay, so you get the idea of what entrance or scroll animation can do. It is purely for design and attention grabbing maybe. But I'm still struggling to be convinced that you need this on a page. I'm really struggling for it. I keep on laughing because I don't know how you're going to convince me that this is going to sell your product or your website better, or this is what people are fascinated about. And the reason I'm more critical of it is that once you go into mobile devices, this becomes just a total hot mess. And for that, I'll recommend that you select it, you go to scroll, and you deactivate it. Let's see if it is. I think it is still. Yeah, it is. And this is what I like about Brizy. I was working with other page builders during the week, and they cannot do this. Animation is not responsive. I don't even know when Brizy gave us these options to make the animation responsive, because usually I will criticize that it doesn't work on mobile, and now we have the ability to disable it on mobile. So that kind of argument flew out the door. But the fact, as long as it on mobile can be a normal display, then it's fine. And then I'm back to my argument. So why invest your time in setting it up and taking 10 minutes to make it run smoothly, and then get frustrated if it doesn't work on all the screens, because not all browsers do it properly in exactly the same way. But I think I'm in the minority here. I think the majority love it. This is where I will stop. And this also brings us to the end of the updates for Brizy 2.4. Remember to support the channel. Give us thumbs up. Thank you very much. I'll see you in the next video. Go well and stay safe.